This is the V2V podcast, Survivor Series, Diamond Ranch Academy, Part 5, Clinical Staff.
And now we get into doctorate or master's level therapists. What's interesting about their staff, I think they moved around a lot from facility to facility. Ephraim Hanks, he's the clinical director. He's been a social worker since 2008, and he's been a marriage and family therapist since 2010. But as we talk about these therapists, people should remember very clearly that it was in this group of people that the sexual abuse occurred. The sexual abuse occurred among teacher, child porn, and the sexual grooming and abuse was done by a member of the therapy staff. So I want to be clear that even though I'm noting that these people have the right clinical backgrounds, educational backgrounds, so do these other folks, the ones who were the predators. An important thing to remember, because absolutely the culture of this place attracts a certain type of person. So we should be very leery of the therapeutic staff. And I would encourage parents who have their kids there to take a good look at who is actually treating your kids. And you should do that in any case, like with any therapist. You should always do a thorough background check on any kind of position of trust that you're going to put, especially your child, into with an adult. You should do a thorough background check. And if there's any hesitation, that makes you feel odd, then you should run fast away from that person. Absolutely. Now we spoke about this guy, Cade Matthews. Apparently, this guy was a staff member at another school, the Heritage Schools, which is the next investigation that we're going to do. He's a clinical social worker now. He started off as a support staff at Heritage School. Then he became a therapist at Wasatch Mental Health, and now he's the assistant clinical director and therapist at Diamond Ranch Academy. Wow. So, yeah.
He's made a career of this industry.
Indeed. We have Meyer Jepson. Meyer completed a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from the University of Utah, master's degrees in Science Education and Mental Health Counseling from the University of Miami, Florida. He has a PhD in Clinical Psychology from Brigham Young. His work experience is interesting to note. I think I wrote it down for a reason. He says that Meyer Jepson focused his clinical experience on at-risk adolescents and adults, addiction and forensic populations. He has conducted psychological assessments in individual and group therapy in hospitals, adolescent programs, and the corrections department in Florida and Utah. Prior to joining the Entrada Young Adult Program, Meyer worked as a primary therapist at the Second Nature Unitas Adolescence Program. So I don't know what those are, but he's that example of one of these guys who seems to have moved around a lot, and and that should be a concern. Maybe not a big concern, but definitely something that you should always look into. If you're looking at a therapist who has gone from state to state, or from facility or program or office to office, there might be something wrong. Because most doctors and most therapists and social workers stay in one place, really almost their entire career. and just become.
Yeah, but they could have something wrong too. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because oftentimes also when a person will go from state to state and become licensed in a different state, they may not be eligible to be licensed in another state, or something may have happened where they lost licensure somewhere else, so they can go and And I'm not saying that that's the case, but
no.
it might be the case.
But with Diamond Ranch Academy, you never know. I mean, clearly, because we're sort of in that zone now where this next offense is going to happen. And it would be nice to get, some type of legislation to get something done.
Absolutely. So we have Kevin O'Keefe, and he is also a licensed clinical psychologist. He has extensive experience in various settings, including hospitals, prison systems, a university counseling center, wilderness therapy, and private practice. It says Dr. O'Keefe is a well-rounded clinician. But again, it's just like, that's too many places, man. Hospitals, prisons, university counseling center, wilderness therapy, private practice. Like, what is going on with this guy? Why can't he stay put? So we have Jake Roberts, who's a nurse. He's a real nurse. And he's a real nurse. So there we go. We have a nurse. That's cool. Jerome Eason. He works in substance abuse. And he is a licensed substance abuse disorder counselor in Utah. He's been licensed since December 2014. He got his Master's of Science at Grand Canyon University. Well, some schools are better than others, His work experience is interesting, too. So he was a supervisor at a residential treatment facility. He was a probation officer. He was an athletic director. And now he's a program director and counselor at Diamond Ranch. What's interesting about this is that he is a program director and a counselor, but remember the other program directors had really meager educational backgrounds. See, there's that weird blurring where these other people who are much less educated or qualified are at his same level. They may be his boss.
Sure.
This is the kind of thing that the young lady's lawyer was concerned about. About why wouldn't you take notice of papered up window? Maybe because the program director is the counselor's boss and doesn't want to know, or doesn't care to know, or maybe knows. Maybe he knows and doesn't care. So then we have a lady named Jill Call, and she is a real marriage and family counselor. Nothing really exciting there. Although her work experience, again, comes into question here because she was staff at Outback Therapeutic Expeditions in Lehi, Utah. So she started off at a wilderness school as a staff, and then she became a primary therapist at Logan River.
Right.
And then she was an outpatient therapist at Alliant Counseling and Education in St. George. And then she became a therapist in private practice in St. George, Utah. But now she is working at Diamond Ranch. Another one of those cases where there's too much background. All right. So then we have Brent Holm, who's a therapist. He's a licensed clinical social worker in Utah. He's been licensed since April of 2015. He's a youth counselor at a residential treatment program, therapist and substance abuse counselor at the community health department, and now he's a therapist at Diamond Ranch. Jared Jensen, he's a therapist, and he was a primary therapist at Second Nature Entrada Therapeutic Wilderness Program. He was a therapist at a place called Discovery House. He's a therapist at Wasatch Family Therapy. Another wilderness camp guy. Cassie Robinson, therapist. Cassie Robinson's an interesting case. She was licensed in September of 2017, but she's been working at Diamond Ranch Academy as a therapist since 2013. She was illegitimate for a number of years. She got her master's of counseling in marriage and family and child therapy at the University of Phoenix. That lady should not have been working there for that long as a therapist. Stuart Squires. He has his master's in social work from Brigham Young University. He worked as a therapist at Sunhawk Academy. He worked as a therapist at New Haven, and now he works as a therapist at DRA. So he's been around a little bit.
Yeah, and New Haven is a horrendous place. We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure.
Sure.
You can almost see patterns, yeah, I'm sure.
Right. So then we have a lady named Pabla Thompson. She is, she's a therapist. Her education is general education, LDS Business College, Salt Lake City, Utah. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Social Work, and she has a Master's of Social Work from Brigham Young. Social work intern at McKay-D Hospital in the Psychiatric Unit. Master's of Social Work intern at Wasatch Mental Health. Development counselor intern at Deseret Industries. And now she's a therapist at Diamond Ranch Academy. Jonathan Parker, who's a therapist and equine therapist. He got his master's at the University of Hawaii. The thing about equine therapy is you need to be licensed as an equine therapist according to the DRA website. All their equine therapists are licensed, and he does not appear to be. So he's missing something. He is missing something. And let's see, then we have Brent Black, marriage and family therapy, a master's degree. Shannon Callahan has a master's in social work, substance abuse therapist, intern at Therapia Addiction Healing Center, and now she's a therapist at DRA. Josh Larson, he also has his master's of clinical mental health counseling from the University of Phoenix. His work experience includes primary counselor, substance abuse counselor at Sunhawk Adolescent Recovery Center, substance abuse counselor at Diamond Ranch, program director, substance abuse counselor at Colonial Management Group, therapist assistant, Evoke, Second Nature, Entrada, Therapeutic Wilderness Program, substance abuse counselor, Red Rock Canyon School, primary therapist, Lava Heights Academy, primary therapist, Eagle Ranch Academy. This guy's been around. Wow.
Big time. Big time programmy.
Definitely. We have Sage Callahan, Boise State University, social worker. He was a hospice social worker, tender care home and health and hospice. So he worked with dying people, which is nice. Then he was a social services director at Kairos Academy and a therapist at Utah Behavior Services. And now he's at good old Diamond Ranch. Stephen Beck, social worker, staff at Lava Heights Academy, Tokerville, Utah, crisis therapist, Switchpoint, St. George, Utah. Now he's at DRA. And then we have Andy McGinnis, equine specialist. No information at all about him. And then Cheyenne Stratton, she's a small animal care specialist. And we're going to wrap this up for now. Therapists are required to meet continuing education and training requirements to maintain their licenses and level of expertise. Doctorate and master's degree therapists, licensed in the state of Utah, case managers, substance abuse disorder counselors, and something called EGALA, Certified Equine Specialist. I didn't see I didn't see the animal thing. They didn't note that they were certified, so
Right.
if they are, they should note that. I don't think they should be talking about equine therapy if the people that are running that program aren't certified. So
No.
yeah, so the next topic we're going to get to will be the schooling portion.
This has been the V2V Podcast Survivor Series, Diamond Ranch Academy. Stay tuned for Part 6, Academics. And as always, thanks for watching.